not make it harder to vote in Texas, which is the hardest state to vote in already.
Texas Democrats leave the state to block a bill they claim restricts voting. What happens next?
Plus, a new update from the CDC allowing students and faculty to return back to the classroom maskless. More on that coming up.
And Samuel Olson's alleged killer appears in court. We've got the outcome. It's Tuesday, July 13th. Good Morning Texas starts now.
As soon as they come back in the state of Texas, they will be arrested. They will be cabined inside the Texas Capitol until they get their job done.
Democrats from the Texas House of Representatives head to D.C. to try and derail the voting bill. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Joey Horta.
And I'm Paige Ellenberger. The move blocks voting on the bill by denying Republicans the necessary number of lawmakers needed to take a vote. The House is set to reconvene this morning, but without the Democrats, there won't be enough members to conduct business.
Health experts opening doors now for those who are fully vaccinated.
The newest update from the CDC allows vaccinated students and teachers to return to the classroom maskless this upcoming school year. KRHD News reporter Brittany DeFran shares how the community is reacting. Brittany, good morning.
Good morning, Joey and Paige. That's right. As more people get fully vaccinated, the CDC is pushing them to return back to normal. The Brazos Valley is a little over a month away from the first day of school, and officials are preparing students and staff to return. According to the CDC, in April, nearly 80% of teachers, childcare workers, and school staff had at least one dose of the vaccine. One of those individuals is Caldwell ISD teacher Cody Knott. He's had COVID, but believes if people are vaccinated, everyone should be safe not wearing masks in the classroom once again.
In the end, it's going to make for a better learning, experience because we're going to be in the classroom together, and you can't beat that.
According to the CDC, right now, at least 58% of Texans are vaccinated. In Bryan, Brittany DeFran, KRHD News.
Brittany, thank you. Right now, the federal guidance on vaccine boosters is not expected to change. That's the word from a senior health official following a meeting between Pfizer and public health leaders. It came just days after Pfizer said folks who received its vaccine may need a booster shot at some point. That led to rare pushback from the CDC and the FDA, which said no one who is fully vaccinated needs boosters for now.
The CDC and the FDA said that based on the data that we know right now, we don't need a booster. That doesn't mean that that won't change. And we might need, as a matter of fact, at some time to give boosters either across the board or to certain select groups, such as the elderly or those with underlying conditions.
Pfizer is still working on a booster and plans to apply for FTC emergency authorization for it next month. Also, the FDA updated the label for the J&J COVID vaccine, saying there could be an increased risk of Guillain-Barré syndrome. Federal health officials say the link is not clear if the vaccine causes the neurological complication, but noted there has been an uptick in reports. Health officials recommend that it's still better to get the vaccine because the risk is low and most people make a full recovery.
Let's turn to weather now here on this Tuesday morning. Josh Johns tracking what we can expect.
Yeah, and we were seeing showers and thunderstorms yesterday morning. Here's the good news, Joey. We don't have those out there this morning. In fact, radar coming in fairly quiet here across the Brazos Valley, and not only across the Brazos Valley, but the Lone Star State looking pretty clear this morning as well. We are starting off with a cooler morning, too. Temperatures that are in the low 70s yesterday. These were in the 80s, so good news there, and winds are on the calm side. So should be a quieter day today, although Future Track will show you that we are going to be tracking the chance for a few sea breeze showers and thunderstorms later on this afternoon. I think the better chance of that, though, will lie south of Bryan College Station. Still, we'll keep everyone with about a 20% chance of rain. Then we get into Wednesday, and Wednesday we'll be tracking it once again. There's just so much moisture in our atmosphere, and high pressure just has not fully developed, and that is keeping those chances still in place. So we'll be watching that pretty much most of the week. The good news is, look what happens as we head towards the end of the week. High pressure really starts to build in out west. That could lead us to a few dry days coming up by the time we head into Thursday, Friday, maybe even Saturday, before more rain chances try to come back in as we head towards Monday and Tuesday. Highs today get into the upper 80s and lower 90s. We're getting a little closer to our normal temperatures. Normally should be at 95 this time of year. Still, that's 5 degrees below normal. And then tonight we dip down into the low 70s again. 10-day forecast shows you that we're going to be keeping these isolated rain chances around going through Tuesday, Wednesday, and on in through Thursday. Temperatures hanging around the low 90s with southeast winds. Look what happens by the end of the weekend, though. Here's a dry day Saturday, Sunday, mid-90s, Monday, 95. Then we bring back these rain chances as we head into next week. Right now, though, only 30% chances of rain. Models trying to bring a weak cold front our way going into the start of next week as well. It's still July, and we're still tracking cold fronts. Joey, I don't even know what's going on anymore.
I don't know, but I like it. Josh, thanks for that. We appreciate it. Around 125 people this morning are dead after shootings over the weekend. According to the Gun Violence Archive, more than 360 shootings happened between Friday and Monday morning. Among them, a 13-year-old killed in New York City, and a police officer also killed near Shreveport, Louisiana, while responding to a call. A new study suggests the rise in gun violence is not connected to increased gun sales. The study by the Violence Prevention Research Program at the University of California, Davis, researchers suggest job loss, civil unrest, and closures of community organizations are possible reasons for the rise in violence. And President Biden says he has a 4-part plan to help curb gun violence across the country. He wants to hold gun dealers accountable, support law enforcement with funding from the American Rescue Plan, and investing in community violence intervention programs, along with funding mental health, substance abuse, and job training programs.
The woman accused of killing 5-year-old Samuel Olson appeared in court with no representation on Monday. A judge found probable cause to charge Teresa Balboa with capital murder. Now the next step is for the case to be presented to a grand jury, which can take up to 90 days from now.
I'm just confident that we have the right person and that I will be able to meet my burden in getting justice.
The DA's office is weighing whether to pursue the death penalty. This is Balboa's first appearance in court since her charge was upgraded just last week.
The rise of ransomware attacks directed at U.S. companies is creating demand for a new service from cybersecurity companies, ransomware negotiations.
We did our first negotiation in June of 2020, based off of contacts that we had had with a victim of a ransomware incident. We did a few more after that between June and September and decided to make it a formal offering because word was out that we were doing it. We were starting to get referrals from other victims that we had worked with.
Webster Jacobson told Newsy that the end goals of each negotiation are specific to the situation, but that a successful negotiation usually involves pushing ransom prices down and protecting victims from future attacks.
We've seen negotiations that we've been able to get the price down to 10% of the original asking price. We don't want to spend too much time in an incident focusing on the why, but to the level appropriate, providing context so that this incident and this negotiation can be an educational experience so that the victim organization doesn't have to go through this again.
There's some debate about whether these negotiations or payments should be banned. Paying ransoms is legal so long as the ransom, usually in the form of hard-to-trace cryptocurrencies, doesn't go to countries like North Korea or Iran. But the FBI advises against ransom payments.
The idea of banning ransomware payments, because they're such a financially motivated crime, appears to be a really good solution, but it's not that cut and dry.
This concept of let's make paying the ransom illegal. That's not fixing the problem. That's basically doing what happened to drugs in the United States. When you make something illegal, all it does is increase supply and demand and drive up the price. So all you're going to see is the ransom go up. We just need to step back and say, we got to do the work.
Negotiators do recognize their role in keeping this ransomware supply chain alive. Worldwide ransomware damages are expected to cost companies and governments $20 billion in 2021.
Paying a ransom is putting money into the hands of those criminals. And that is a really tough pill to swallow for many of the victims that we work with and is frankly the worst part about this job. Knowing that money is, especially some of the early payments that we made in Bitcoin that have now doubled or tripled in value, is spent by those criminal organizations.
Experts note that one way to avoid ransomware payments is for companies to put more resources toward detecting and stopping future cyber attacks rather than default to paying.
We need to work first on securing our critical infrastructure, on providing businesses better, clearer ways to prepare, and on doing a better job at actually disrupting the criminals before we say what we're going to do is we're going to stop you from paying.
Tyler Adkison, Chicago.
Coming up, we're introducing you to a group that's pushing through any obstacle that gets in their way. How they're helping boost inclusion within the community. Stick with us, Brazos Valley. You're watching Good Morning Texas.
Nothing can stop a small group of special needs kids from having a good time. KRHD News reporter Rachel Espayat has a story of one woman's mission to boost inclusion in the community.
Bowling is a family-friendly sport that people of all ages and abilities can enjoy, and that's why Avocation Therapy chose Grand Station for their first outing. Alex Chisholm steps up to the bowling lane with his sister Angelina. Move your feet. Ready to bowl.
He used to really struggle with it, and he used both of the ramp and the bumpers, and he couldn't get anything in. But now he's doing really good, and he beat me by 40 points.
Alex, who has autism, is on the Special Olympics bowling team. The pandemic prevented him from playing last year, but not even the typical bowling environment was an opponent at this sensory-friendly bowling event at Grand Station Entertainment.
If you notice, he has his little headphones on because he doesn't like a lot of noise. So he's a little extra sensitive to everything around him.
Avocation Therapy hit a strike working with Grand Station. The bowling center accommodated the group by opening earlier, lowering the music, and adjusting the lighting.
Anything can be adapted, you just have to have a little creativity. We don't open to the public until noon typically, but we are able to host different groups and things before we open so that it is a little bit more calm, a little bit quieter.
This was the recreational therapist's first time hosting a group event, but plans to hold even more in the future.
I believe that people with disabilities deserve access to community resources and recreation, but sometimes they may need help to access those resources. So I am trying to break down those barriers.
Helping preteens and teenagers with special needs tap into their passions while knocking out obstacles. Good job. In College Station, Rachel Espayat, KRHD News.
One Texas camp is providing unique opportunities for kids with disabilities. KRHD reporter Rebecca Fiedler spoke to Brazos County Sheriff Wayne Dickey about how the community can make a difference.
Sheriff Wayne Dickey, a member of Bryan Noon Lions Club, has been involved in helping with Texas Lions Camp for several years. The camp provides summer fun opportunities for children with physical limitations, diabetes, and Down syndrome. At least 7 Brazos Valley children have attended camp under the sponsorship of a local Lions Club in recent years. In a meeting at the College Station Hilton, Dickey spoke of his desire to recruit even more local families to attend.
When parents drop their kids off, there's a little of that anxiety about the first time that you leave your child somewhere. But at the award ceremony, there's no doubt that the kids, number one, have a great time, but 2, they build some of that self-confidence and some of that can-do attitude.
Dickey also hopes to raise continued funding for the summer camp, both through Lions Club chapters and through the public at large. It costs over $1,800 to send a child to camp, but that fee never comes out of the pockets of the families in attendance. It's always covered through donations made through the Lions Club. If you're interested in learning more about this camp or making a donation online, visit lionscamp.com. Reporting in Brazos County, Rebecca Fiedler, KRHD News.
The World Health Organization is urging caution against lifting coronavirus restrictions in countries around the world. It comes as more countries move to reopen despite a growing global death toll and concerns about the rapidly spreading Delta variant.
The idea that everyone is protected and it's kumbaya and everything goes back to normal, I think right now is a very dangerous assumption anywhere in the world.
The global death toll from COVID-19 surpassed 4 million, according to Johns Hopkins University. World health leaders are saying the pandemic is still raging in countries with low vaccination rates, and that lifting restrictions puts other regions at risk for the spread of variants.
This is not a flat curve. This is an increasing curve. Making assumptions that transmission will not increase because we're opening up because of vaccine is a false assumption. Transmission will increase when you open up.
This comes as the Delta variant sets off alarms around the world. According to the CDC, the highly contagious Delta variant accounts for more than half of new COVID cases in the U.S. The European region saw a 33% increase in COVID cases in the last week. But despite the risk, the U.S. and England have been gradually easing restrictions.
A June American Healthcare Association survey found 94% of nursing home providers experienced staff shortages.
Our staffing isn't where we want it. We've been fortunate. We've been able to, still accommodate and still have good staffing to our ratios that we feel good about. But as we admit more residents, which we're hoping to do, we need a stronger workforce to pull from.
Pete Van Runkel, executive director of the Ohio Healthcare Association, says all 1,100 of his long-term care facilities are juggling the same issue.
The various programs that have been put in place, the concerns that people have about, working in an environment where they may be exposed to COVID, even though there's very little of it now in long-term care facilities.
But I'm told COVID isn't the issue. Competition is. Cedar Point, for example, offering $20 an hour amid this labor shortage. Long-term care facilities are trying their best to compete.
In order to attract anyone in the door, you have to pay better. So they're doing that, but to accomplish that result, they're running losses, and that is not sustainable. Eventually, it's going to come back to the point where they're going to have to shut down.
Backstreet's back, where you can go to catch the Backstreet Boys back on stage this year. Stick with us, Brazos Valley. You're watching Good Morning Texas.
Potato lovers rejoice because today is National French Fry Day. Whether you like classic, curly, or crinkle cut fries, they are a favorite of all ages, so go ahead and use today as an excuse to indulge in the salty favorite Americans have grown to love.
I like the ones that are little smiley faces. And as their hit song, Everybody Goes, Backstreet's back, this time for a holiday show in Vegas. After delaying their world tour due to the pandemic, the Backstreet Boys are going to do a Christmas residency at Planet Hollywood. The boys, now all men rather, in their 40s, admit the show will have less gymnastics than when they performed in their heyday. The Vegas shows start November 11th.
This is file video, folks. They do not look like that. If that makes you feel better.
Are you doing the backflips for them now?
There you go.
I couldn't do that. But
it's exciting. I mean, it'll take you a trip down memory lane. It's kind of cool.
I'm not even in my 40s. I couldn't be doing their backflips. So
No.
Well,
I'm there, and it's not happening. Trust me. What's going on outside?
We're going to be tracking the potential for a few showers later on this afternoon, but not a huge chance, only about a 20% chance. Not expecting widespread rain like what we saw yesterday. That is the good news. Things should be quieter. Climbing up to I-91 later on today. Radar's quiet this morning, not only here, but across the entire Lone Star State. Things looking pretty dry, so should have a drier day in place. Temperatures that are in the low 70s as you're waking up this morning, so it doesn't feel as warm as it did yesterday. Remember, yesterday we were waking up to temperatures near 80. It's kind of a nice morning out there. It wouldn't surprise me if some of you dip it to the upper 60s before the sun comes up. Winds are calm currently, and as we look at future track going through the rest of the day, we'll keep those winds coming out of the southeast. That'll bring that moisture back in and allow for a few sea breeze showers by the time we head into the afternoon. Tomorrow we wake up with cloud cover, and then once again in the afternoon we'll watch for some more of these sea breeze showers. But again, look how spotty they are. About a 20% chance. You get under them, though, they can produce a quick, heavy rainfall. They can move out of here very quickly, though, as well. Also some breezy winds that come out of the southeast. We'll keep that chance around here for the first part of the week, but by the second part, high pressure really starts to build in, and look what that does to our weather. Really starts to dry us out and brings us back into a summertime pattern. I think by the time we head into next week, though, we're going to be tracking a cold front getting closer to us. Yeah, it's July. We're still tracking cold fronts, and that means that we could see a few more showers and thunderstorms later on next week. Let's enjoy the second half of this week, though, where we get the drier weather coming back in. Upper 80s, low 90s today. Normally should be at 95, and tonight we dip down into those lower 70s. 10-day forecast has us at 91 officially for today and tomorrow. 20% chances of rain. 92 on Thursday. Look what happens by the middle of the week, though. 93 to 94 Saturday and Sunday with dry days. We touch 95 on Monday. And then there's that cold front coming in later on next week. Temperatures dipping back into the low 90s and some small rain chances sneaking back in.
All right, Josh, thanks for that. And happy Tuesday, Brazos Valley.
Make sure to stick with us. Good Morning Texas. We'll be right back. As the beginning of the school year quickly approaches, the CDC updated guidelines for students and staff. More information on that coming up.
Plus, the Biden administration's enhanced child tax credit rolls out this week, how that program works.
And America's top general in Afghanistan has stepped down. Who's taking his place? It's Tuesday, July 13th. Good Morning Texas continues right now.
All vaccinated students and teachers can return to school without a mask. That's according to the CDC. Good morning, I'm Joey Horta.
And I'm Paige Ellenberger. KRHD News reporter Brittany DeFran is with us this morning, sharing how some folks feel about the news. Good morning, Brittany.
Good morning, Joey and Paige. Right now, we are just weeks away from the first day of school. Experts are looking at how students and teachers can return to some normalcy this year. Caldwell ISD teacher Cody Knott experienced some tough times during the depths of the pandemic.
I am a fully vaccinated teacher.
Now with a healthy 15-month-old baby girl, he has not regretted jumping on that opportunity as soon as it became available.
I trust the science. I trust the vaccine to keep us all safe and healthy.
Believing in science is all Knott wants others to do as well, with a raising concern about the highly transmissible Delta variant. Also Knott's firsthand experience in the hospital with COVID. He believes if everyone gets vaccinated, the new variants that develop will not spread.
They've come out and said that, if we're fully vaccinated, we're okay with, the variants that come and go.
Although it feels like school ended just yesterday, Knott is excited to have his students back in a more normal classroom environment.
In the end, it's going to make for a better learning, experience, because we're going to be in the classroom together, and you can't beat that.
Knott shared from those he's spoken to, many teachers are feeling hopeful and excited for this upcoming school year. And same goes for parents like Candace Lister.
I'm not 100% sure if I will require my children to take a mask with them to school or not. One of my children has already had COVID, and so it's not a real big thing in our household, but we do want to protect ourselves and protect others as much as we can.
According to the CDC, 44% of people 12 years and older have been vaccinated here in Brazos County. In Bryan, Brittany DeFran, KRHD News.
Brittany, thanks. The first payments in the Biden administration's enhanced child tax credits are rolling out this week. Now, here's how the program works. Heads of households will receive up to $3,600 for each child up to 6 years old and $3,000 for each child 6 to 17 years old. Half of that credit can be claimed when filing income taxes for the year, but the other half will be paid in monthly installments now through the end of the year.
America's top general in Afghanistan is stepping down. General Austin Scott Miller handing over his command to General Kenneth McKenzie, the leader of the U.S. Central Command. It's a key milestone in the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Miller was the longest-serving U.S. commander all throughout the 20-year war, and the U.S. is currently working on a diplomatic strategy to keep the peace between the Islamic Republic and the Taliban. All right, it's time to get a check on the weather now here on your Tuesday morning. Josh, how's it looking?
Well, looking a lot better than yesterday. We don't have the showers. We don't have the thunderstorms we were tracking yesterday morning. We may still see a few showers later on this afternoon, though, as the sea breeze works in. About a 20% chance of rain. We'll climb up to a high of around 91 with southeast breezes working on in. Radar showing you, though, we are quiet this morning. That is the good news. Lone Star State quiet as well, so we aren't seeing the widespread rains like what we saw yesterday. And I don't think we will be seeing that for a while. High pressure is about to really take over, and we're going to see a little bit of a summer pattern break in to end this week. Temperatures this morning waking up in the lower 70s. Some areas may dip into the upper 60s by the time you wake up in the morning. It's 69 right now in Centerville, and then winds are on the calm side, so that's what's allowing these temperatures to cool off into the upper 60s. Future Track shows you we'll see those winds shift around the southeast later on this afternoon. They'll blow in around 15 miles per hour by the afternoon. That's what could bring us a few of those sea breeze showers. Again, south of Bryan College Station is going to be the better chance for that. The good news is these will be isolated in nature, so not looking at anything like what we saw yesterday. Then we get into tomorrow, and we'll once again watch the afternoon to see if we can see a pop-up shower or thunderstorm, and we'll kind of continue that pattern going through Thursday before things really start to dry out. Future Track shows you what happens after that, though, as this high pressure builds in. We're talking about drier air coming in for the second part of the week on into the weekend, and that means that we're going to be able to see those temperatures get back up towards normal, and also a few dry days together. That until a cold front comes in as we go into later on next week. Today's highs get into the low 90s, normally should be at the mid 90s this time of year, so we're creeping back up there, and then tonight into the lower 70s. Keep in mind, it's going to be humid, so it's going to feel like 95 to 97 degrees later on this afternoon. 91 your high for Tuesday, Wednesday, 92 on Thursday, 20% chances of rain holding on. We get into the mid 90s for the weekend, and then later on in the next week, there's when that cold front comes in, bringing us small chances of rain to kick off the week.
Look good, feel good. It's a motto that's true for pets and for people. That's why one Kansas City nonprofit spends its days providing fresh starts for animals and humans. The Grooming Project teaches people who have a history of drug addiction or crime to become certified dog groomers. But that title means so much more than using clippers and giving doggy baths.
People going from hopeless to having this incredible amount of hope, to having, goals, and they have plans for their future, and they have these great things going on in their lives.
They come here to try to learn about their illness and how to adapt and regain their life.
A Michigan family is making a difference for others battling illnesses, including anxiety, PTSD, and depression. They use their farm and working with animals to help residents rebuild a new life. The animal therapy programs play a big part to bring hope and healing.
It's a reason to get up in the morning, and they know these animals need them.
The nationwide eviction moratorium will expire in less than a month. Leaders at the VA are concerned it will lead to a large increase in homeless veterans. One Kentucky program is working to house veterans before that number goes up. Nearly 40,000 veterans. That's how many experienced homelessness on any given night in 2020, according to the National Alliance to End Homelessness. Paul Elliott was one of them.
When you're homeless, living out of your van, living out of whatever, you just get tired of it.
For Paul and many like him, homelessness wasn't a choice, but it is a common outcome.
There's a saying when you go into service is they try to break the civilian out of you, and once that civilian's gone, you never go back. Even when you sleep, you're not sleeping. So you're always, this is where PTSD comes in, where you're always wired and you can't really relax.
The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs reports that 11 to 20 out of every 100 veterans who fought in Iraq and Afghanistan have PTSD in any given year.
It's emotional for me, because I've been in those same positions that everyone that we help have. I struggle with PTSD myself.
Jeremy Harrell knows that feeling too.
So we're gonna go to house number 5.
It's why he started the Veterans Club in Shelbyville, Kentucky, to help people just like Paul.
It's not enough just to say, hey, we wanna get vets off the street. But I remember how I felt when I felt like I had no one. And I don't ever want that to be the case for anybody that we're around.
Through partnerships, the club recently started its Veterans Village, a community of tiny homes for veterans in need.
The homes are foundational. What that does is it tears down any barriers you have about where am I going to sleep and what am I going to eat. So we get rid of that for you, right?
Paul says his life has been a revolving door until a few weeks ago.
I had a hard time readjusting to the civilian world, and at this time I still do. I find being here at the Veterans Club, I think being around other veterans in this community, and it's going to be a brotherhood and a family, I think this is going to help me get established and having a home.
That's just the beginning.
We have case managers, right, who kind of sit down with them, clinicians who sit down with them and kind of talk about, hey, these are the things the challenges you have. but what are your goals? We sit down with them and we come up with a 3, 6, 9, 12-month plan. And then we set off on the plan, right? Then we start working on financial literacy. We start working on employment. We start working on supportive services. We start working on education. We do training. We do all kinds of, we just want to fill the toolbox.
I want to go back to work. I've injured myself. I've been dealing with injuries.
Jeremy gets calls about veterans who could benefit from their services across the country. The reality is there aren't many programs like this out there.
It's hard work in a way that it could, you could work for a year to help someone, and then in a day it could all go south. You can put a lot of effort in and it may not produce any fruit.
Delaware, Connecticut, and Virginia are the only states that have virtually eradicated veteran homelessness, according to the National Conference of State Legislators. But until that's the case nationwide, Jeremy and his team won't stop helping veterans like Paul.
Because I know if it was up to me, I'd be in trouble again. I'd be, on my own somewhere trying to deal with something on my own. And you can't do it on your own.
We can't get so comfortable and so arrogant that we think that for a minute that can't be us, because it absolutely can. And how would you want to be treated if that was you? And if we just start asking ourselves that throughout daily life in general, I think our country would be a lot better in a lot better state than it is now.
In Shelbyville, Kentucky, I'm Jessie Cohen reporting.
Still ahead this morning, the Department of Defense and industry players flocked to Aggieland. We'll give you a look inside the major symposium. Happy Tuesday, you're watching KRHD. The Department of Defense and industry players gathered in Aggieland this week for a major symposium. KRHD News reporter Hannah King takes us inside.
Held at the Texas A&M Hotel and Conference Center, the symposium was presented by the National Defense Industrial Association, an organization educating attendees about national security issues.
It's kind of the mesh that holds all the warfighting capability together, and how we do it in the future and move information is going to be critical. So the objective is to bring industry together with government speakers and academia from Texas A&M and other universities to talk about the solutions in JADC2.
Leading efforts alongside NDIA to bring the conference to the A&M campus, Stephen Cambone says the conference is about protecting the country.
The idea is that the U.S. Armed Forces are going to have to be able to fight in the air, in space, on the ground, and at sea, and in cyberspace, simultaneously across the globe. So how do you command and control those forces in a way that allow them to accomplish their mission and succeed in protecting the country?
Leaders at the conference say these meetings are critical because this is where the community interested in national security comes together to talk about the future.
So we're listening to concepts, we're looking at different technologies, and then really listening to what the services have to say to their academic partners and with their industry partners as well.
Just to name a few, government attendees, aerospace and defense executives, and academia were among those at the conference. The purpose is to help participants talk to one another about how to make progress. Reporting from Texas A&M, Hannah King, KRHD News.
If you look around this tourist town, it's easy to see summer vacation is here. Travelers are enjoying and family businesses are thriving.
I mean, I don't even know how this place can get any more busier, but I think it's going to be great.
Gracie Bassett and her family run Gracie's Gift Shop in Galveston, Texas.
My parents have had Gracie's for 24 years, so I feel like I've just grown up in the store.
They worried COVID-19 would cut this family legacy short, but this stop for trinkets and treasures never went quiet.
Because Galveston is so close to Houston, people were able to drive and they just wanted to get away from the craziness of COVID, so they would come to the beach.
So tourism never really stopped for you all.
Luckily, not for very long.
The success on this street, a stark contrast to the emptiness just blocks away.
From the cruise business standpoint, we really have been injured. I mean, we lost about $44 million in revenues over the last 16 months.
Galveston's biggest attraction has been docked for more than a year. The businesses supporting the cruise industry almost sunk too.
So we're always sitting idle. And that was really hard on us.
Jason Hayes runs several cruise parking lots in Galveston.
Hey guys, my name is Jason. I'm with Easy Cruise Parking.
The business he's built with his mom since 2003 barely survived.
We didn't turn off our Comcast. We didn't stop our insurance on our buses. We kept paying all our bills. If we'd known that we're going to be out of business for 16 months, you know, I probably would have sold my buses.
But this man, much like this town, lives and breathes cruising. He even got married on a ship.
That's what we do. That's who we are. We're a cruise ship parking family.
That love kept his hope alive that the ships would return.
Okay, we can feel it. It's in the air. People are gearing up. People are calling. People are excited.
Coming up next, we're introducing you to the cleaning fairy, how this man earned his new nickname. Stick around. Good Morning Texas. We'll be right back.
If this is what a home break-in looks like, sign me up. A couple comes home to a pleasant surprise. Someone cleaned their house for them. Meg Bakers explains the mix-up.
Okay, wait. Story time. Let's get into it.
Louis Angelino III works a 9-to-5 job but cleans friends' houses for extra money on the side. Once a messy kid, he says cleaning is like therapy now.
It's just like very satisfying. And it really helped me with like my mental health and everything else, because if you're in a clean environment, your mind is clean.
Angelino, aka Stay Screwy on TikTok, posts some of his transformations. As it explains, we go from frat house to bachelor pad. He showed up at the address of what he thought was his friend Mark's condo in Cherry Hill, South Jersey. He was told the key was under the mat, and there was a key. Angelino says he turned on music and got to work for 2 hours and fell in love with the 2 cats, Mary and Baby.
I'm a cat person. I'm like petting her and I get a call from Mark, and Mark's like, hey, like, did you come today? Like, did you clean?
I'm in your living room waiting for you to walk in. I'm playing with your cat. He goes, man, I don't have a cat. What?
Beth Motzel's husband, Tom, called her when he got home from work.
He said, oh, you won't believe it. Somebody broke in our house and cleaned the entire thing. He said, Swiffer and all.
Comes to find out that I cleaned the wrong apartment and broke in and cleaned somebody's random apartment. You're welcome.
Tom and I laughed forever about it. He fixed it all up. I mean, details, he cleaned up after the cats, he played with the cat, he fed the cats, and he wiped everything spotless. He really is a cleaning fairy.
Can we get this guy's number? What's the deal?
Right?
I need help.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome to have him stop by.
You sound like me in my high school years.
You need help? I'm here. If you need something, Josh, just let me know.
Oh, I meant cleaning my apartment. I didn't mean anything else. Like, I don't know where you're
going with moral support. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, moral support to clean my apartment? That works.
I might
work with that.
Okay.
Anyway, lower 90s on the way for today. Humid. It's going to be a humid start this morning. Some sea breeze showers later on this afternoon. Southeast winds are around 7 miles per hour, about a 20% chance of rain. Radar shows you that things are quiet there across the Brazos Valley. We go into the rest of the Lone Star State. Things are quiet as well. It's going to be a quieter day. Temperatures in the lower 70s as we are waking up this morning. Some areas may dip into the upper 60s here briefly. Then we'll start our warming trend that takes us through the rest of the day. And we're shooting for the 90s today. Winds are calm this morning, but they'll shift around the southeast this afternoon. That'll bring that sea breeze potential in, bring in that chance of showers as we go through the rest of the afternoon. Again, some of these may produce some brief heavy rainfall, but very isolated in nature. That is the good news. Nothing like what we saw yesterday. We keep the southeast winds going into tomorrow as well, and that'll bring us that chance in the afternoon once again, just these isolated showers and thunderstorms possible. And that's pretty much all we're going to be tracking until we get past Thursday. That's when things really start to dry out. High pressure builds in. That's going to help end these rain chances. And we'll see a couple of dry days on the way as we continue through the rest of the week onto the weekend. And then later on next week, we're actually going to be tracking a cold front coming in, bringing back those rain chances and knocking our temperatures back down to pretty much where they are now. So we'll start a little bit of a warming trend, then return back to where we are now, because the summertime pattern just has not been persistent this month. Doesn't look like it's going to be persistent anytime soon. Highs today get into the lower 90s. Normally should be around 95. Tonight, though, we dip down into the low 70s. And as you look at that 10-day forecast, we'll call it 91 for your Tuesday, Wednesday, 92 for Thursday. Southeast winds at about 10 miles per hour. We head into the weekend. That's when we get into the mid-90s. And then here comes that cold front later on next week, bringing us 30% chances of rain. Still, that's a lot less than what we were tracking yesterday, which is good news.
There you go. All right. We're always online here at krhdnews.com.
Thanks for starting your Tuesday morning with us, Brazos Valley. This is Good Morning Texas.